There's a verse in the book of Hosea that says, "My people die for lack of knowledge." Now, in Christianity today, there's two ways that people look at God's law. One group of people look at God's law kind of like the way we have human laws. Either a legislative body or a strong leader just made up rules. You think of a speed limit. Why is it 45 in some places and 55 in others? Why not 32 and 61? These are just random numbers someone came up with. And if you break the speed limit and if you get pulled over by a police officer, you're going to get some arbitrary punishment, a fine and a certain amount of points on your record. This is the way human laws work. And many people think that's how God's laws work as well. God made up a bunch of rules, and the good people follow them, and the bad people break them. And God also has random punishments and rewards that He bestows and gives based on your obedience to the laws that He made up. Another view of God's law is that they're natural laws, that they're like the laws of nature. Think about respiration. You have to take deep breaths. Think about the laws of motion. If you're going really, really fast on a wet curve, you could lose traction and slide off the road. Now, that's not a law that God made up and said, if you go too fast, I'm going to push your car off the road. It's just a natural law. And in the book of Hosea, when God says, "My people die for lack of knowledge," it totally fits with the natural law way of looking at life. Just think about if you didn't understand the health laws and you thought it was healthy to drink motor oil, you would get really, really sick. You would die from lack of knowledge. If you read through the book of Hosea, things were pretty crazy in Israel at that time. Crime was rampant. The priests and leaders were cruel. They were more concerned with drinking and getting drunk than maintaining justice. There was even human sacrifice. God talked about, like, I gave you blessings. I gave you food and new wine and gold and silver, and you turned around and gave it to Baal worship. Things were really bad in Israel. And it was because they didn't understand how life works. You see, Baal promised peace and prosperity, but he said you have to kill people to get it. And if you have a religion that is accepted by a society that condones human sacrifice, you are only going to reap the whirlwind, like Hosea said. You're just going to get bad things. You're going to die because you don't understand the way life works. Some people look at religion and they see a bunch of rules and they see a bunch of things they're supposed to do to somehow earn their way into heaven. And it's time for us to step out of that confusion and step into looking at God's law the way we look at nature. When is the best time to plant flowers? Well, it's not in the dead of winter. If you did it wrong, your flowers would die because you have lack of knowledge. What should I eat for breakfast? Well, there's a lot of options. But if you follow natural principles, you'll end up eating things that will not give you a sugar crash in 2 hours, or things that will not make you sick. Almost a year ago, I started getting really, really sick. It was about 20-30 minutes after I ate, and my stomach hurt so bad. I would literally lay on the floor and roll around in pain. We had no idea what was wrong with me. We thought maybe I was allergic to something, or maybe I had cancer, or maybe we had no idea what it was. And we had to do a bunch of tests and see a bunch of doctors, and turns out I have celiac, which means if I eat wheat or gluten, then I get really, really painfully sick. And now I don't get sick. This morning we're going to eat pancakes out of a gluten-free Krusty's pancake mix. But if we ate the regular old school pancakes, come about 30-40 minutes after breakfast, I would be in so much pain for the rest of the day I couldn't function. I would not die, but I would be miserable for the lack of knowledge that my body does not like gluten. Are you miserable? Do you feel like something inside of you is dying? Friend, it's not a curse from God. It's not because you're not good enough and you just need to try harder and be better. It just means you don't know something. And God is our teacher, and He is patient. And many times He allows us to feel uncomfort, to feel pain, so that we come to Him and say, what do I not know? How can I change? And that's what repentance and confession is. It's a humbling of our hearts to say, God, please help me here. The cool thing about not having knowledge is it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you have a bad heart. It just means you don't know something. And we live in a world where it is very easy to learn things. So today, use this Sabbath day as a way to get a little bit of knowledge. Learn about who God is. Because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. God bless.